Hello, everybody. And wow, this one's going to be a lot more fun, a lot fewer qualifiers on this Broncos victory. The offense looked good, the defense looked good. Man, there's a whole lot to talk about. And joining me to dissect it all, we have, I guess I should start saying, as always, now, as always, the one and only David Talks Sports. Find his work over at David Talks Buffs and David Talks Broncos. And Michael Carmelini. Find him over at Mic'd Up. That's the name Mike with a D and the word up on YouTube. Fellas, I'll start with you, David. How are we doing today? What are your immediate thoughts, immediate reaction coming from that game as we go live here?
Personally, I can put together a coherent thought after the game. That's always awesome. We're gonna have one of the best post games ever today. I can already tell. I think the theme of the game, man, was the young players. How many first and second year players did we have step up for this Denver Broncos team today? It was great to see them play a key role in us destroying a front running team that is the Dallas Cowboys. We took care of business and then some against a very good team on offense. So that's great.
Fully agree. Mike, where are you at?
Yeah, I was with David. And since you went with that, David, two minds that always think alike, I'm going to switch gears and go back to the Tebow era real quick. Jim Trotter walked into the locker room after Tim Tebow and the Broncos won. I think it was their 6th game in a row. And Champ Bailey was in the locker room. He just had his head down. And Trotter walked up to him and said, "Hey, man, what's up? You just won 6 straight. You look so despondent." And he just looked up and he said, "Man, it's just hard winning like this." And you know what? As a Bronco fan and everybody out there in Broncos country, today was a day where you could sit back and enjoy a full team win, blowout win, just have fun with it. You can win like this. We ran the ball. Bo Nix, 4 touchdowns. We'll get into all that. The rookies showed up. RJ Harvey. I mean, this is as good as it gets for a Sunday afternoon for a Broncos fan, Zach.
I'm fully with you. I'm coming into this live feeling ecstatic. I've got some topics that I'm going to throw your guys' way that I think are going to underline just how high I am on the Broncos coming off this performance. This game, yes, the score feels amazing. You played a good Dallas Cowboys team, and the Broncos blew them out. You know, arguably their best win of the season. It's this win or the Eagles win. Eagles are a better team, of course, but that one, down to the wire. This was just so almost front to back, just a dominant performance by the Denver Broncos. But beyond that, you saw the offensive logjam get cleared. And that logjam was the push and pull that we had been talking about on this show, that I'd been talking about with Joey and Bree on the show, of Peyton very clearly doesn't trust Bo, but Bo is not giving him any reason through the first 3 quarters to be trusted. And today, I was worried. It started off a little ugly. That first Bo Nix pass was great. The second one was by far his worst of the day, one of the worst he's thrown all year. It was so far behind Pat Bryant. And when he threw that interception, I went, oh no, this might get ugly quick. This might go down a dark route really, really fast. And then right after that, Pat Surtain is grabbing his leg. He's injured. I'm going, oh no, this has gone as far south as it possibly could in the first 5 minutes. But after those 5 minutes, it was all Broncos. And one, I think getting off the mat like that is promising, but mainly you saw Peyton wants to throw the ball around the yard. He just hasn't trusted Bo to do it. And he put that trust in Bo today, and the trust was rewarded. And I think that's going to, I've said this on Twitter, I think it's going to deconstipate the whole offense moving forward. I think this win is maybe their most meaningful. I think really 3 of the last 4, beating the Eagles in comeback fashion on the road, beating the Giants in crazy improbable comeback fashion, and then thumping the Cowboys like this and building some offensive confidence. Those 3 wins, or 3 out of 4 of their last 4 games, I think it fundamentally changing the chemistry of this team. Do you guys feel similarly there? Mike, you this time. Sorry.
I do. I felt that way. We had gone. So when the game started, we picked up that first down, and I was like, okay, this is different. Why is this different? And the reason it's different is because we had gone 5 straight games beginning with a 3 and out. Like we just never get a first down. And I'm like, hey, all right, we're seeing something. And then that pass to Bryant, where I guess we'll get an explanation on that. Maybe we won't. Look, it was such a bad pass that you had to think Bo thought Bryant was gonna sit on that route because it was so far behind him.
Yeah.
We held him to 3, and we were kind of off after, off and running after that. But to your point, Zach, I was afraid. I was looking forward to Bo getting opened up a little bit in this game as well, especially after putting up 33 points in the fourth quarter last week. And then to have an interception to start the game, I thought it would be just like Sean Payton to pull the reins right back in and cut it all down, but he didn't. And it turned out to be a kind of a historic night. 2 4-touchdown games in a row. We haven't seen that since Peyton Manning. Great night.
Wow.
And it was a fun win when you get a comment like this. I love this from Chiba. Missed a plus 3,000 parlay on the Sutton anytime touchdown. Sutton, of course,
Not even mad.
dropped that touchdown in this game. Missed a plus 3,000 parlay on Sutton anytime touchdown, and I'm not even mad, says Chiba. That lets you know this was a pretty fun Broncos victory. David, I'm going to have you open us up with our next little segment here. How would you grade this Denver Broncos performance? We've done this before. I think we're going to get into the nitty gritty of Bo Nix. I'll tell you right now, we will get into the nitty gritty of Bo Nix, Sean Payton, the offense in general. We're going to get into it, but just a quick thought: offense, defense, special teams. If you have any special teams takes, what would your grade be for the Broncos this week?
Call me Homer, call me grading with a curve, but we took the number one offense in the NFL, held them to 24 points. They decided to play their backups before the game was even over, dude. Yeah, offense going off for 44. Special teams, Marvin Mims with a big return. That was great. Now, again, it wasn't perfect, but in my mind, it's all good enough for an A grade, man. We saw the defense make plays. We saw the offense make plays. And, special teams was just fine, man. Marvin Mims with that big return. That was huge. That was huge, man, after that touchdown. So I'm giving them an A.
Yeah,
Mike,
what else can it be?
Sorry.
Yeah, what else can it be, Zach? I mean, it's an A. Coaching, from everywhere from coaching to all 3 teams were exceptional today. Again, there was a little bit of junk points at the end. It was a complete blowout. When we've got our backup quarterback in, they've got their backup quarterback in, and we'll get into who the stars were. It's going to be tough because there were so many tonight. But when Patrick Surtain went out and the defense still was able to do what they did, no fumbles, special teams were great. Crawshaw had like one kind of funky punt, but it was 48 yards. Like everything went our way. It's an A. I would almost go A+ because I'm such a great mood, Zach. But yeah, I'm grading A.
I wouldn't fault you. I think it was like A+ from the offense, A+ from the defense. They allowed to the Cowboys starters only 7 points in the second half without Pat Surtain. I mean, that is a gutsy performance. Pass rush, I thought, did a great job against Dak Prescott. He's just a better quarterback than what the Broncos have faced in past weeks. So he's better at, getting the ball out of there and not taking the sack, getting it in the zip code of a receiver so he can avoid the penalty in the sack. But the pressure blew up a lot of those Cowboy plays. Dak Prescott was on a 4-game streak. The NFL record's 5 games. He was on a 4-game streak of games with 3+ touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Today, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Just stellar from the defense, I thought. Thought they did a pretty good job against Javonte in the run game too. Cowboys had some nice plays on the ground, but overall was really happy with that. And then the Broncos offense, I mean, could run the ball like it was no problem. We're passing the ball great. like my one complaint really is that Bo Nix throw to Pat Bryant, and maybe it was a Pat Bryant miscommunication. I'm fairly confident it was a mispass, but I'll own it. We don't know for sure until we see the all 22. Either way, because Pat Bryant was way off on that. It was someone made a bad mistake. Outside of that one terrible mistake, everything went great on offense. I think special teams, the way they're handling kickoff coverage drives me a little crazy right now. I think you should be doing the squibs. They're giving, especially like end of the first half, you're going up against the best kicker in football with the most crazy range at mile high altitude, and you kick a touchback to start them off immediately at the 35. And the other element of the touchback, especially late in a half like that, you're not draining any clock because there's no return. So, even A plus maybe to the offense and defense. Special teams, I loved the Mims return. Let's came through on his kicks, but it'd be like a B for me because I did have a fly in the ointment I could complain about there.
Understandable.
And someone in the comments brought up the penalties. So
yes.
we I guess we factor that in. All right, so fine. I agree with you, commenter. So still an A.
And I'll say some of the penalties, man. I question it, and I'm not the blame the ref guy, but this is the second week in a row where it's just like a good number of them had me kind of scratching my head. I think the one Riley Moss one, I think it was his second DPI by the goal line there. That one seemed very questionable to me. And it didn't feel necessarily like they were calling things 1-to-1. It really I have when the Cowboys were still trying to come back, I think it was the drive that ultimately ended with the Tillman interception. Tyler Guyton has Nick Benito in a headlock, and I saw it on the broadcast angle, and it's right in front of an official. And I'm like, so we're not flagging that, but like Riley Moss grabbing the chest plate a little, like it just seems a little inconsistent to me. But again, Broncos win. Hopefully they can clean up some of that execution stuff and get rid of the penalties. Now that we've got the grades out of the way, fellas, let me get
Zach. What did you think of the Troutman pick call? He was engaged. He was engaged with a defender.
I think that was the right call. I gotta say, I think that's on Troutman. Now, maybe you could blame it on the coaches for not coaching it up, right? You got to look like you're catching the ball. And he did like the NBA, I'm setting a screen thing,
right.
like he put he crossed his arms or whatever and just stayed put, which if you are trying to take a charge, good strategy, but it does scream, I am intentionally standing in your way right now.
Right.
And so I do think I agreed with that call. It hurt. To me, it felt like there were a lot of ones on the border that wouldn't go against the Cowboys, and then when they were called on the Broncos, they would go against the Broncos.
Yeah.
But
that's the only reason Troutman's ever splitting out that far wide, man. Should have had somebody else in there
to set a pick.
Yeah.
This is a good point from Rock Walker saying it's the right call, but they haven't been consistent about calling those picks. I think that's true.
Yeah.
I'm with Roan 77 here on the justice for Moss, but
he gets like reputation calls in a negative sense now.
I saw a tweet that I thought was pretty good that was like, these refs are racially profiling Riley Moss with these flags.
That's right.
I thought there was some truth to that. I heard Bomani Jones go on a good rant about it this past week. But let's get into the weekly improvement meter. It doesn't matter if Sean Payton says we can't do it. We're going to do it anyways. Fellas, this is going to be the happiest weekly improvement meter we'll have since I've created the segment. Where are we at? David, how good did you feel about how Sean Payton called the offense and how well Bo Nix played quarterback today?
Dude, Sean Payton back to genius level, baby. He's no longer fake genius. He's genius again. Everything was working, man. The runs, the outside runs, the tosses, the inside stuff, the RJ Harvey at Wildcat quarterback, man, the deep shots downfield. I mean, the Cowboys defense, they've been get right for every single offense they've faced. And it was the same case with us. Every single button that Sean Payton hit today worked. And it was domination, man. Domination. And Bo Nix, man, I'll take 4 TDs. I'll take 44 points every single week. This was encouraging, man, because I think that against the Giants and Jets, those defenses, we made them look better than what they were, man, in my opinion.
Yes.
And this Dallas Cowboys defense sucks, and we should have put up 40 something on them. That's what we did today, man. And it didn't matter if we got penalties on the offense, man. Bo Nix hitting third and longs. So, yeah, Sean Payton back to offensive genius, and Bo Nix looking like a franchise quarterback after this week again, baby. You'll love it.
Mike, where are you at on
Yeah.
the Bo Nix Sean Payton weekly improvement meter?
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you, David. We're way up on the graph, and just so you know, I'm not in my studio, so I'm on the road. I got this funky background going. I don't have all my screens up, so I don't have stats. You guys are gonna have to be stat guys, but you're right. Sean was in his bag. Everything that we should have been able to do to the Cowboys, we did tonight. That halfback pass to RJ Harvey, where he doesn't just do a swing pass or a screen pass where he goes through the line and then bleeds out. You see other teams do that.
Mhm.
I love that.
I love that play. And it was like, as soon as I saw him make the break, you knew it was a touchdown. Yeah, I'm way up on both of them this week, Zach. I couldn't be happier with their performance. Also noticed something else. We're not going to have to talk about overthrows or overbows or whatever. He was hitting the deep shots. At one point, we had like 8 plays of 20 yards or more early in the game, 7 or 8, like just crazy stats. And what I noticed about Bo was he was finally putting a little air under the ball on those long passes. He's been, I don't know if we got in his head or if the media got in his head about him having a weak arm and he just wanted to show off, but he was putting a little touch under those long balls and letting the receivers go up and get it. I mean, that in the end zone to Bryant. Oh, are you kidding me? I mean, it was fantastic. And then late in the game, I think it was Court had his redemption, after dropping the touchdown on some deep throws. And it was just it was a great game from Bo. And again, him proving again an early interception to him. He said it when he was a rookie. They asked him, how do you handle an interception? Like, how do you come back from that? And he said, the same way I do as a touchdown. He goes, it already happened. It doesn't matter. I can throw 2 touchdowns and it doesn't matter. He puts it in the past and he just goes out there and makes the next play. He did that all game today and showed out. Stock way up on both of them, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mentality you got to have at the quarterback position. And I fully agree. These guys balling today. I loved how I'll be a stat guy for you, Mike. I loved how well Bo Nix bounced back from that interception, throws the ugly interception. His next 5 throws after that, he goes 4 of 5 for 77 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Overall, he finished this game. I think this might have been the best game of Bo Nix's career. And it's crazy to say that when he has, I think it's on the short list for worst interceptions of his career. But like, that was a hell of a game from Bo Nix. I'm trying to get the exact box score really quick for you.
19
guys.
of 29.
Yep.
247 yards. 4
touchdowns, the 1 interception. Great game from him, 117 passer rating. And I will say now, if I'm given the weekly improvement meter for both, I'd say solid improvement from Sean Payton. Good step in the right direction. But the reason the offense felt so differently today, folks, I don't think it was called that differently. I'll tell you right now, the reason it felt so different, Bo Nix was dealing. And this is, I want us to remember this the next time the offense has a bad game, because I bet it has more to do with there being a lot more missed throws than it has to do with the offense being called dramatically differently. I think the one real notable difference in the play calling was the lack of screens. And I think there's a chicken and egg dilemma with all of that. Are the Broncos calling a lot of screens against the Jets and Giants because Sean Payton doesn't trust Bo Nix and just wanted everything to be easier? I guess hyper training wheels, super compressed, the bubble boy offense, as I was calling it. Or do we think maybe he was seeing Bo Nix not throw the ball well early in those games, and we saw a lot of screens in the second, third, fourth quarter? somewhat as a reaction to what Bo was doing in normal drop back situations. I think it was a lot of the latter, some of the former too, certainly. But like, man, I really think if you were to chart like what concepts did we see today and compare them to what concepts, how many designer plays did we see, and what concepts were we generally seeing, and at what rates were they being called outside of the screens, I really don't think it was that different from Sean Payton. I think he noticed Bo had it today and leaned further into it. That's good coaching. But I think it wasn't happening before because Bo wasn't having it those days. And man, I'm mainly saying this because I want to heap some praise on Bo Nix. If he plays like this for 3 or 4 games in a row in January, the Broncos will win the Super Bowl. Like that's the level of, and like you're playing a bad defense, absolutely. But if you can just consistently hit like it made it easier on him. I'm well aware of this, but if he can consistently rip throws like that and support the run game like that, this team should be run first, but they're going to have to lean on Bo here and there. And every time, save for the one interception, felt like every time they had to lean on him today, he came through. In the first half of this one, the Broncos had 15 first downs. They faced third down 3 times. Wow. That's not failed third downs. That's not third down conversions. They had 3 total third downs, 15 conversions. This offense was playing like you would expect the Chiefs to play or something. And the fact that this defense did what it did against that Cowboys offense, I think they like, and rightfully so, the focus of this game will be on the offense. But this defense has been maligned for the last 2 years with people saying, they're great against the bad quarterbacks, but they can't really hang with the great offenses of the NFL. I can't, if you've got a physical run game and a really good quarterback, this Broncos defense can't hang. This was a physical run game. This was a quarterback playing at the highest level of anyone in the NFL, and they snuffed him out. If you get this level of defense and this level of Bo Nix for the 4 weeks when it really matters, Broncos can win the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But I want to ask you fellas, is there any doubt about it in your minds? Got to find the right banner. Do you guys think right now, I was thinking about this as the game was wrapping up. You got the Chiefs, you've got the Bills and whatnot in the AFC. Do you think the Broncos belong in a conversation? Colts too. I don't want to disrespect the Colts. They deserve the mention. Do the Broncos deserve to be mentioned in that crew of these are the best teams in the AFC? These are the legit contenders for the AFC championship as it stands right now, or do they still need to prove something in your eyes? Mike, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, they're in the conversation, Zach. They have to be. Dak Prescott is no joke. He's elusive. I mean, I think he took, was it 2 sacks in this game, maybe? The Broncos held Williams to 40 yards rushing. He's been running all over the place. Bo Nix and Sean Payton, I think they're kind of coming into it. And as David said at the beginning of the show, with the rookies now starting to play, maybe there's enough talent, but you cannot deny the defense. Now, when you talk about Super Bowl contenders, I'm not saying favorites, but yeah, you got to put them in the conversation. They belong now. They're 6-2. They've won some good games. They've showed they can win tight. They can do a blowout. They can come back. So there's a lot of good things going on here. Penalties have got to be cleaned up. Some other issues. Let's hope Patrick Surtain's okay. He's out with a shoulder injury. It looked like a pec to me, but we'll find out what that's all about. But yeah, David, I say yes. Contenders.
Yeah, I think like right now I see them as one of the 3 legitimate AFC threats for the Super Bowl.
Who are the other 2?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
it's not 4 contenders.
This is hot take, dude. I think the Bills are contenders, man. I think the Bills are front runners. Give me the Colts and the Chiefs, man. I think a lot. We're going to learn a lot about this team with how they played the Chiefs. But yeah, put the Broncos in a vacuum with Buffalo, with New England. I think that they're the better team. I think the Broncos right now, with the wins that they've been able to get off over the last few weeks, they very well if they get the number 1 seed and have home field advantage in the playoffs, hey, they could go on a magical run right now.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to take to get to a Super Bowl with a team this young. But again, we play unreal at home. Nobody can beat us at home, and
9-0.
yeah, 9-0, and we're undefeated in the throwbacks. Right, we still remain undefeated in at least this iteration of the throwbacks. So that's good to see. But with the rookies and the second-year players seeming to really take some nice jumps. Of course, we got to prove it every week, but this felt like a real team win today, and that's something that we haven't really had much of. So I'm going to view it as, hey, this is the final notch on the little checklist, man. We can play a complete game. We know we can do it now.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. And there's some comments coming in. They haven't done it against the best teams yet.
Yeah.
I think I'd push back on that a little. They did do it against the Eagles. I think they did do it against the Colts. That Colts game looks a lot better. And when it happened, it was like, man, you lose to the Colts? Really?
We suck.
And now it's like that 1 point loss to the Colts where the refs, I don't know if they jobbed them at the end, but you're a leverage penalty away. Objectively, you are a leverage penalty away from winning that game.
On the road.
That's a pretty darn good. Yeah, that's a pretty darn good performance. The Colts' only loss of the season was on the road against a great Rams team, and it really only happened because A.D. Mitchell fumbled the ball outside the end zone and had another Jonathan Taylor touchdown erased with the offensive holding penalty of his. So I like the Colts look pretty darn legit. The Broncos, I thought, did a great job with that team. I like, you do need to see it more, but my claim with this team is if they play their best ball for 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, whatever it has to be, they can get there. Now, playing your best ball 3-4 weeks in a row, easier said than done. The Carolina Panthers in 2015 had a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense and didn't get the job done. Like it's all about playing the best when it matters. And the Broncos, they showed up pretty small against the Jets. You can't do that in the playoffs or you're going home. I'm by no means saying I'm picking them or they should be favored. I don't see a gap or a meaningful gap between the Broncos and any team in the AFC other than maybe the Chiefs right now. I think the Chiefs look pretty damn scary. I'm not going to lie. But outside of that, like, I would take the Broncos. I think the Broncos could hang with anybody if they get the version of the team we saw today. I think it's my big qualifier. David, you highlighted a reason why I'm maybe starting to believe a little more in this unit, being one hell of a performance from these rookies. This was the rookie breakout. There's a lot of talk this week about the Broncos rookie class not producing as much as many would hope. Today, they came through in a big way. How did you feel about what we saw from the Broncos rookies in this one, David?
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't expect it at all. Did not expect it at all. And, I've been going kind of dark side Dave on this draft class the last few weeks, being like, man, I want to see more of them, but we're not seeing anything, man. We could have had a tight end. We could have had this, that, the other, whatever. It was great to see. First off, let's start with our first round pick, Jahdae Barron. We are all worried sick this week after Dre Greenlaw's suspension is upheld. Dude, that man did a fantastic job on Jake Ferguson. I don't know if he covered him the entire time, but I remember seeing him on Ferguson quite a bit. And Ferguson wasn't even – when was the last time a tight end wasn't a factor against us?
Oh, yeah, great point.
That was awesome. I think that he did a tremendous job, and it was a big moment at the end of that first half when the Cowboys, again, you brought it up, Zach. We just kick a touchback. We give it to them on the 35-yard line with like 40 seconds left or something like that. And one, I was really surprised to see them throw it over the middle of the field that deep with like 20 seconds left on the clock. But nonetheless, Jahdae Barron coming down with that interception instead of allowing the Cowboys to get in a position to where they could get 3 points, absolutely massive. I'll let y'all talk about the other rookies, but I did just want to say, Pat Bryant, baby, this is why I want to see more of you play. That was a phenomenal route. It was a phenomenal throw, catch. I loved it. So let's see more of them moving forward. We're going to have to see more of Barron if Surtain's missing any time with probably what's a shoulder strain or something like that.
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. Fingers
see.
crossed it's nothing too serious. I on the PS2 thing, before I get your take on the rookies, Mike, I'll just say need him back for KC. If he doesn't play against this Texans offense, like Nico Collins is a great receiver, but that Texans offense is flawed enough, especially their line picking up complicated pressures and blitzes. That's where they've really struggled this year. I think the Broncos can maybe get away this next week without PS2. Then you get the Raiders. I think you can maybe get away with that one. Chiefs after that, a game for the division potentially. Really need Surtain back for that one. Going to be closely monitoring the injury news there. Mike, any thoughts there? And then why don't you take it away with your rookie takeaways?
Yeah, I'm saying 7 games in, let's not judge our rookie class quite yet. I think that's just silly talk. But RJ Harvey got his first 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. One of them a 40-yarder, also a receiving touchdown. I think that's his 3rd now of the season. Somebody will check me if I'm wrong in the comments, I'm sure. Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin combined for 3 touchdowns. It was rookie night, and the pick by Barron was almost as good as the Tillman pick. I mean, we got to talk about big man interception and run. What a night. But the rookies showed out, and let's stop the nonsense. Let's let the guys play 1 season or 2 seasons before we start worrying about busts and all that. So yeah, I had notes. My notes early were Franklin breakout night. Oh my God, RJ Harvey breakout night. Which one of these 2 is going to be my star for the night? Yeah, it was just a great night for the new guys.
Yeah, and the Broncos needed this. I will say I agree with the mindset that it's way too early to start talking about busts and all that stuff.
But you can say we need more from these people. We need to see more. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Twitter gets crazy.
I hear you. I'm agreeing. But the Broncos are trying to push this year. They are trying to compete in the AFC, to the conversation we were just having. And to do that, you need rookies to come through. The Broncos don't win the Super Bowl in 2015 if Bradley Roby isn't as good as he is, for example. Like, having those rookies come up, make some plays for you here and there, it is important when you're trying to make a push like this. The Broncos are finally getting some of it, and in a major way. I think what RJ Harvey showed you today, running as a pass catcher, was so promising. 3 touchdown day for him. And I felt a little vindicated too, because I was saying, I think on our recap show last week, I know it's not looking good for Harvey right now, but keep giving him carries. You got to give him more than 2-3 carries a game, 4 carries a game for one of these to pop and for it to really shine for you. And what do they do this week? They give him 8 carries. He goes for like 80 yards. He averaged 9 yards a carry. It was sick. And yes, that's really inflated by the 40-yard touchdown scamper he had. That's my point. Dobbins is the guy who's going to get you 5 yards every time, and that's great. That's why Dobbins is the lead back. Harvey's going to have those 2-3 yard carries that are frustrating, but he's the guy who can take a 60-yarder to the house. You saw Dobbins have a couple explosive runs today, but they kind of max out around that 15-20 yard range. Harvey took it the 40 yards for the house, and for an offense that, like, yes, Bo was on today, but we've seen they struggle to hit some of those explosives through the air. You need explosives. Those are gold in the modern NFL. So if you're a little hit and miss through them for the air, get some on the ground, and Harvey can create them in spades. And so I felt so vindicated seeing him used as a sick pass catcher, as a wildcat quarterback, as
that was fun.
a straight up ball carrier on the toss crack. I mean, I am loving me some RJ Harvey. I've been a RJ Harvey fan since he was with UCF, and I'm glad to see him make some plays in this one. I'm glad he got the mile-high leap into. I always think it's so fun whenever they jump into the crowd. Pat Bryant, you highlighted him. A great catch for the touchdown. I think that was maybe the most impressive play the Broncos had all day. Just money throw from Bo. Really high-end catch from Pat Bryant. Also, though, he springs that 40-yard RJ Harvey touchdown. He deserves, obviously, we don't give half touchdowns like we do half sacks, but if we did, I'd be giving Pat Bryant a half touchdown for his blocking on that one. He was great. And then you guys highlighted what Jahdae Barron can do against tight ends. I hope that's a weapon we see the Broncos lean more and more into as the season goes on. They did it big this week. Who was the other tight end where they really deployed him that way? I'm blanking. It was a good one. Was it Goddard? I think it was maybe Goddard where they did a lot of that, and he blanked them.
Mhm.
Who it would have been week 3. Week 2, Tyler Warren burned him, so it wasn't that one. I think it was Dallas Goddard. But we've seen him in some of these matchups against good tight ends really hold up, kind of eliminate them from the game plan. And like you guys were saying, the Broncos have struggled with that for a long time. So nice to see. I'm
Nice to see.
from the rookie class. I know I went for a second there. Any closing thoughts you guys have on the rookies? I've got other topics, but
No.
Yeah, I mean, just you can't. The relief. I guess I've got some relief, Zach. As much as I don't engage in the rookie stuff, yeah, I wanted to see more, and we saw more. And so I would end on. We can call this rookie night or coming out night. We can call it whatever you want. But yeah, I would just say, yeah, I probably was a little bit relieved, and I'm glad that you were vindicated, Zach, because I know that you were waiting for that. You deserve it. It's not that tweet about. It's not as good as your tweet about how we could get rid of Russ. That was like magical, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, that one's staying framed for a long time. Mike, or not Mike, David, let's start with you this time. Who was your Broncos standout? Who do you want to highlight that we haven't gotten to so far? Or if it's someone we've talked about?
Nah, this is a new guy we haven't talked about. It's another second-year player. I love doing these trade rumor videos, talking about who we can bring in to take this offense to the next level. And everyone's saying, Dave, go after other positions, man. We don't need Brian Thomas. I still might argue against that, but Troy Franklin today gave us hope as a second-year receiver. You putting him in one-on-one situations, dude, in the red zone, the way that he was getting open, it was great. And yeah, just coming down with a handful of big catches in today's game. That was wonderful to see. Again, he's kind of his thing right now has just been consistency, right? So it's good to see him bounce back, have a really good game. I thought maybe you could, knock on him for maybe dropping that one kind of by the sideline, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna blame that on Bo. Gonna blame that on Bo. He's the first round pick. Troy Franklin. Maybe now we feel like we can go trade for TJ Hawkinson or Mark Andrews. That's all.
Ooh, you are full of hot takes tonight, David.
I like it. And I will say, Troy Franklin finished today 6 for 89 and 2 touchdowns. On the first of those 2 touchdowns, he hit him with the TO on the star celebration. I thought was pretty great. Nice little callback from Franklin there. Mike, what did you think about Troy Franklin today? And then let me know who your star of the game was.
Well, Troy Franklin was my star for the game. So that's what I think of it. So next week, Zach, as a note, you have to say you ask me first who the star is. So David has to come up with something because this is like the third week in a row he's done that to me. He obviously was the star of the game. But I will say this, Zach. I would like to reuse J.K. Dobbins again. Great game, 111 yards. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm not going to. I'm going to steal Zach's. The star of the game was Bo Nix, guys. He just was. 4 touchdown passes, 1 stupid pick at the start of the game. At some point in the last 3 quarters of football, the Broncos had put up 60-something points, 550 yards of offense. And so if you went from like the first quarter of the second quarter of this game back to the fourth quarter of the game before, like he has been going off. He deserves it. I may not get a chance to call Bo out a lot as a star. I'm giving it to him tonight. He's my star of the game. Played great. Didn't take any sacks. Threw the ball away when he needed to. Just played a real professional football game. Not a lot to complain about with Bo tonight. So yeah, he's my star, Zach.
I think that's a great choice. I think he probably was the star of the game in a lot of ways. Just balled out. I mean, this is to me, and there's some recency bias, but it stands out as like the best performance I think I've seen Bo Nix play because it wasn't just Like the Falcons game is more statistically impressive,
Right.
but those are screens. He's just throwing screens that are going for 70-yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
This, he was ripping the ball. He was making downfield plays. Like I was really, really wowed by him. A new listener is asking a question, so I am just going to navel gaze for a second, asking, what was the tweet about Russ, new listener? If you look at my Twitter, at Zach_Seegers, I was a big proponent during the 2022 season, before Peyton came in, I'll just say, of cutting Russ, taking your medicine, owning that this guy's a bad quarterback, and just let's get on with it. Get the dead money out of the way. Let's bite the bullet now. No need to run this back for 2023. We know where this is going to go. So I outlined, I think in like October of 2023, how, or it might have even been 2022, how achievable cutting Russ would be. It's still my pinned tweet.
It's pinned tweet. It's been pinned there for 2 years. So
I still got it
ended up
bookmarked
being dead
somewhere.
on. They did almost exactly what I told them to do. So George Payton, I'm still looking for my cut. But if those, I won't make that joke. I'm not gonna make that joke. Okay, so let's on to the next before I get in trouble. Before I get myself in trouble, on to my next topic here. My Broncos stand out. You guys didn't mention him. I thought this is where Mike was going for a second. And if none of us mentioned J.K. Dobbins, I'll feel terrible because he had he's not my pick, I will say, but he's like the runner-up for both me and Mike. Awesome game for him. He got over 100 yards with just 14 carries. Like he
Insane.
was gashing them, had so many explosive runs. The vision stood out to me with J.K. today. Like he was just making great reads, and the blocking, he had some big lanes to run through on some of them, but he also just like elevated the run game so much. Awesome performance from him, but we've shouted him out a few times, and probably will shout him out again this season. So like Mike, I'm going for the road less traveled here. Dondre Tillman. He wins the game for the Broncos. Now a comeback would have been like unlikely anyways, but he wins the game for the Broncos with that interception on Dak Prescott and the return. I was yelling the entire time he was returning that because he was kind of carrying the ball out here a little bit. Just fall down. And you saw Cowboys players starting to punch at the ball. I was like, dude, go down. And he kept returning it and got like 30 yards out of the sucker. It was a great play for him. Great coverage. Kodiak, great minds thinking alike here. He also picked Dondre Tillman.
He always seems like too big to drop him back in coverage, but he's made some plays like that. Not necessarily to that level, but he is deceptive.
We were all in this room when Tillman makes this play and he's running the ball down the field and he just big boy run, and he keeps going and going. And so like it was like one of the only times that we were all like yelling, go, go, go. And then I said to everybody, I said, tomorrow morning when you wake up, Tillman's all his social media stuff is going to show him, his profile picture is going to be him carrying a ball, and it's probably going to say running back for the Denver Broncos or defensive back for the Denver Broncos. Now he's just going to go ahead and change all this stuff. He's just such a great dude, and he's been making so close to making big plays all year. So it was great to see that. That's a great pick. That would have been a great pick too.
He's awesome. He could start for some teams in the NFL.
Yes, yeah.
He could be the number 3 option for, I think, every team in the NFL not named the Denver Broncos. I might be spacing on some team that has a stellar number 3 edge rusher, but it is an embarrassment. Like Ellis could be a plus starter, not only a starter, he could be a plus starter for something out there in the NFL. He's their 3rd guy. Dondre Tillman, if he's your 3rd guy, I think you're sitting really pretty. He's their 4th guy. Q Robinson, I wouldn't mind if he was there. Like he played great in Jonah Ellis's stead these past couple weeks. Man, I love this defense. And now they get Dre Greenlaw back, by the way. This was the last, hopefully,
God.
The last Dre Greenlaw-less Broncos game.
Unless he's in some gambling scandal here.
Don't even say it.
Don't you dare even put that energy out there, David. That's all I had for us today. Let me get back to our main banner. Excuse me, guys. This is the downside to doing it.
It can happen to Chauncey. It can happen to anybody.
Oh man,
the defense.
Rough
yeah. So I'll doing a show next week with Colin Cronin on that very subject on the Spin Zone. So check that out, guys. If you're out there on YouTube, it's a great show. It's an NFL show, but it's about the front offices, the power of the PR, the media, and
how
this stuff.
Covered.
We have some information on that very subject we'll be talking about this week.
It's a great podcast. A topic that's not covered enough. That I try and talk about some on here, but some of the games being played in the media or just with general reporting and kind of peeking behind the curtain and
Yeah.
what might really be going on. I think you guys will do a good job covering that heavy topic. Find him over at Mic'd Up. He's got the little sticker over his screen right now, so you can see how to spell it. For audio listeners, Mikedup. Find him there. David talks Broncos. David talks Buffs. What do you have going on this week that the people can help? Where can the people support your work, David?
Well, yes. Please give me a follow on David Talks Broncos on YouTube. It's a huge help. We're on our way to 4,000 followers. Who would have thought? And hey, whether you want to suffer with me or enjoy my misery, come over to David Talks Buffs. I'm going to have happy videos on the Broncos this week. I'm going to have not happy videos on the Buffs this week. What a great palate cleanser for Colorado sports fans today. Just putting that away. So, yeah.
Colorado State fans too, who had to watch the Rams lose 28-0 in a rivalry game last night. Glad the Broncos at least have Colorado covered. Everybody will be back on this channel on Tuesday with Mario to give you some more takes on this game, and then previewing the next one, as well as a little more on this game on Wednesday with Joey and Bree. Everyone, make sure you're tuning in for that. Fellas, there's nothing I forgot, right? We're ready to sign off. Okay.
Yeah, man. Just people out there, Broncos country, be happy, enjoy this one. This is last weekend was crazy, and that's as good as it gets. Historical win. This was the win that a contender should make against a good football team with a good quarterback. So enjoy this one. And again, thanks for having us all on. Zach, you do a great job. Thanks for bringing us in. David and I, we couldn't be happier to be with you every Sunday after the game.
Thank you for being here. Like I said, I would do better, and I feel like I did today. The Broncos. I started this comment earlier on, and I wanted to circle back to it. But I'll use this as the signing off message. If they take care of business against the Texans and Raiders, they'll be 8-2 with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town, and that'll be enough for that game to have some huge stakes. Where it'll be, if the Broncos win, they can have a 2.5 game lead on the division. But I said this on the show with Bree and Joey, but I'm going to keep hammering it because I think I can't stop obsessing about it. The Chiefs play the Bills next week, and I don't necessarily fully agree with or disagree with I don't fully disagree with what David said, but the Bills I do think are a real threat to the Chiefs. And if the Bills can knock the Chiefs off in that game, if the Broncos can take care of business these next 2 weeks, you're looking at Kansas City coming to Mile High with the Broncos having a chance to get a 3.5 game lead on the division with 6 left to play. 3.5 lead with 6 left to play. That's very much on the table if the Broncos take care of business against the Raiders, the Texans, and the Chiefs and get a little help from the Bills. Broncos country, should be a fun season. It's been a fun one so far. Join us next week for more of this. And until then, everybody, let's go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.